Hello everyone, welcome to the lecture series on 8051 microcontroller. In the previous lecture, we had started off our module number 3 and we had gone through the stack of 8051 microcontroller. Okay, in the previous lecture, we looked into what is the stack, what is its default address location or default pointing value, and then what will be the maximum limit of the stack, and what are its limitations, and how actually the push operation and the pop operation, how it is going to take place, that we had actually looked into in the previous class. So now in today's lecture we shall look into the stack, how these stacks are very much helpful in terms of subroutine programs. So before going on to subroutine, how actually these stacks are helpful in terms of subroutine programs, let us uh, let us try to understand what actually is a subroutine. Okay, so subroutine in the sense it's like how it's like what it's like a separate program where actually we have written a separate set of instructions, where those particular set of instructions will be very much helpful in terms of repeated instruction sets, what we can say. Suppose if I call, let me take an example, something like a delay. Okay, that particular delay I'll be calling so many number of times, so that if I consider that particular thing in terms of my main program, then the space required to occupy that particular main program, that will increase. Okay, so that is why, since the set of instructions are repeatedly called, so that what I can do is I can make that as a separate program, and then that separate program execution, what we can tell is that it is a subroutine program. Okay, subroutine in the sense what, uh, our program counter will be incrementing, and then the set of instructions will be getting executed in the main program. Whenever there is a call of a subroutine program, then the instruction set, what it will do, it will hand over to the subroutine set, and then those subroutine set of instructions will be executed, and then again it will be coming back to our main program. Okay, so now before moving on, how subroutine programs have been called in terms of 8051 microcontroller. So these calling of these subroutine programs, what we can call is that we are having a set of instructions. We call those set of instructions as call instructions. Okay, so there are basically two call instructions in our which are available in our 8051. So first one is L call, or else you can call it as a long call, and then one more is A call. Okay, so that we can call it as absolute call. Okay, the only difference between long call and absolute call is, our long call is a 3-byte instruction, where the first byte is the opcode, and the second and the third byte is what, it is our target subroutine, address of the target subroutine. Okay, whereas A call, what we are having, it is a 2-byte instruction. The first byte will be opcode, and the second byte will be the address of the target subroutine. Okay, now if you have a look at this, now if you take a look at our long call, total number of addresses what we can have is, since it is a 3-byte instruction, okay, where out of 3 byte, now let me take this in terms of this. If you take this particular long call over here, okay, so this is a 3-byte instruction. Out of this 3 byte, 1 byte is for opcode, and the other byte is for address of the target subroutine. Okay, So if this is address is in terms of the target subroutine, then this address I can have total 16 number of bits. If it is 2 raised to 16, then these many number of address locations I can have in terms of what? I can have in terms of long call. But when you take in terms of a call will have what? It is a 2-byte instruction. Again our opcode and then again our address. Okay, so this address is what, since it is a already 1 byte is gone for our opcode, we have been left out with what, only 1 byte over here. So 2 raised to 8, so maximum what I can have is I can have these many number of address locations. Okay, so this much amount of space I can have. So that means what, a call, if I want to execute a long call, then I should have what, I should be dealing in terms of external memory. The extra memory what I want to have, will be dealing with what, will be dealing with long call. Whereas when we take in terms of this particular a call, we will be dealing in terms of what, in terms of the available memory which is available in 8051. So this is the major difference in terms of a call and then L call. So let us see how actually these calls will be used. What actually happens whenever there is a initialization of these particular call instructions. Okay, so as we said, L call is a 3-byte instruction. 1 byte, the first byte is opcode, and the second and third byte have been used in terms of what? In terms of address target address of the target subroutine. So L call can be used to call subroutines anywhere within 64K byte of address space. Okay, so say as we said, since it is a total of 2 raised to 16, so those many, if you take in terms of that, will lead us in terms of these many address locations. So what actually happens whenever a subroutine is called? Processor saves the address of the instruction below call, okay, to the stack, and the control is transferred to subroutine. Okay, that means what? So whenever there is a, see, we'll be having certain set of instructions which will be placed in terms of line by line. Okay, so whenever there is a call instruction, okay, so what actually processor does is that it doesn't store the address of that particular call instruction. What it does is that it will store the below instruction what we will be having, the instruction which is present below call. So that particular instruction's address location will be saved into the stack, and then the control is transferred to what, the control is transferred to the subroutine program. So after once the control is being transferred to the subroutine program, so what actually happens is that again there will be a step by step execution of the instruction sets. Okay, so once the instruction set is finished, the again the control has to be given back to what, again the control has to be given back to our main program. So that particular thing will be done by the RET instruction. So RET is nothing but return instruction. Okay, so whenever we are writing our subroutine program, at the end we should have what, we should have RET should be written. As of now we haven't written any subroutine programs, but whenever we are writing our programs, at the end of the our program, assembly level program, will be writing something called end. Okay, when we don't write end, after the compilation, what a warning will be getting, we will be getting a warning that end is not present. So whenever you are writing a subroutine program, the return instruction has to be there at the end of the program. Okay, so now actually what happens whenever there is a call? Okay, as we said that our call instruction is a 3-byte instruction. right? So when it is a 3, whenever there is a call, okay, my program counter will be having totally how many bytes? It will be having 3 bytes. As we said, the stack pointer will, the instruction below call program will be stored into the stack. that that that's what we had said. Okay, so whenever, since call instruction is a 3-byte program, your program counter will be incremented by 3, and that particular address location what will be having and again, since it has to be loaded, it has to be pushed into the stack pointer has to be incremented, and the contents of that program counter, the first content, since it is 3, out of this one is opcode and 2 bytes are what? 2 bytes are our address we had said. Okay, so first it is going to load the lower nibble of this particular address to the stack. That means it is going to push the lower nibble of program counter, and then again the stack pointer is going to be incremented, and then the higher nibble will be pushed into the stack. Okay, so why only 8 bits are being pushed in the sense is that, as we had said, our stack pointers default this thing will be 07 hexa, and then it will be pointing towards what? It, the first the first location where actually the data has been written, that is where, that will be the register 0 of bank 1. These all we had studied in our previous class. So that is why, since we are having a 16-bit or a 2-byte address, so the lower nibble will be stored first and the higher nibble will be stored next. Okay, so now let us look in terms of some program. Okay, now if you look at this program, let us take this particular program over here. Let me move a little bit. Let us look at the program. So our program has been started with what? Initialized with the 00 hexa. Now if you look at this, now A has been moved with what? A has been moved with 55 hexa, and then here if you look at this particular program, it is going to toggle our A. Now if you look at 5 will be what? It is 01 01, and then 01 01, and then again A we are doing, so it is 10 10, and then 10 10. So if you look at this particular program, this particular program is toggling all the bits after some delay. Okay, so in between the toggling they have given some delay. So how actually they are writing the program? So this delay what we are having, this particular delay in between toggling, this they have written as a subroutine program, and then you can find it over here. So this is our subroutine program. Okay, now here what actually happens is that this is our main program which is starting from 00 hexa, and then if you look at this subroutine program, the subroutine program is getting started at what? It is starting from the address location 300 hexa. Now here A will be loaded with 55 hexa value, that is this particular value, and then that particular value has been moved to what? It has been moved to our P2 port, that is port number 2. Okay, and then L call delay. Now after the delay what will happen? After delay our program control is being given where it is being coming over here, and then these set of instructions will be executed. That means our R4 has been loaded with 0ff hexa, and then decrement and decrement jump if not equal to 0 R5, and then again, actually this should not be R5, this should be R4. So here what will happen? It is going to decrement R4 every time, and then so that these many times the loop will be executed. Okay, so loop is going to execute it in the sense there will be a little bit delay, and then that delay has been called over here, and then again we are loading our accumulator with AA hexa, that is this value, and the same values we are sending it to port 2. Okay, so now what happens is that, so that is what here we are making our port bit something like this, and then we are calling some delay, and then we are making our ports to be like this, and then again we are looping it back to what, to the same state, again delay, and then come back to the same position. So here this program, what it is doing, it is toggling every time. Okay, so the bits of the port number 2 will be toggled after some delay. Now let us look in terms of now let us look in terms of how actually, what actually will happen in terms of this particular program. Now if you look at this program, so these are our address locations. Okay, these are our address locations, and then these are the opcode, and then the target address, and all those things. Now if you look at this particular program, so here let us start from the 0. So it has been started with 00 hexa, and then we are moving what, we are moving A with 55 hexa, and then again we are making our port 1 to be 0101 0101, and then we are moving some value to the R4 here, so that R4 in the sense, after this execution, my R4 in the sense that the address location is 04 hexa, so here I will be having 99 hexa over here, and then R5, so here I will be having 57, so since there is a 57 over there, and then L call delay here you are having. So here actually there is a call of delay. Okay, so whenever, as we had said, since there is a call, now if you look at the program counter value, so this is 008, and then since it is a 3 byte instruction, 8 plus 3, that will lead us me B. As we had said, our the instruction which is below call, that particular address will be pushed into stack, we had said. Now below this address is this particular instruction. If you look at the address over here, this is 000B. now initially my stack pointer, where it will be pointing, it will be pointing to 07, so I'll be incrementing stack pointer plus 1, so that way the data which where I am going to write, that is going to be 08 hexa, and then here I'll be having 0B, because first initially lower nibble is going to be stored, and then after again it is going to increment the stack, and then the higher nibble address is 00 hexa, so 00 will be stored over here. Okay, after that, once this delay has been called, it is going to come over here to this particular subroutine program. In this subroutine program, which is starting from 300 hexa location, here we have called push 4 and then push 5. Okay, now if you look at this here, actually push 4 in the sense what, the contents of register 04 hexa will be pushed into the stack. That means here I'll be having 99. Now in the similar way, if you look at this push 5, here you'll be having what, here you'll be having 57. You might think that why we, whenever there is a call, we have been loaded with the address, but here we are loading with the contents of the register we have been doing. See, the difference is here there is a call of, here we are using, we are taking in terms of call instruction over here. So what does call instruction do? Whenever there is a call instruction, it will take the instruction which is below, and then it will load the address. But here we are telling you push the contents of 04 hexa, here we are telling. Okay, so here at 04 hexa we are having 99 hexa, that is why we have loaded with 99 hexa, and then here push 5 we are telling, so it will be loaded with what, our the contents of register 05 hexa location. So R5 we have loaded with 57, so 57 has been loaded. Here one might think that here if you look at this, we are using push instruction inside a subroutine program. So whenever you want to come out of a subroutine program, so how many pushes are there, so many pops should be present in that particular subroutine itself. Okay, now if you look at this, otherwise what will happen, so the contents of subroutine are different. Okay, now if I don't call this, then the our stack, how does it work, it is going to work in terms of first in last out, right? So that is what, or first in last out, or you can say last in first out. Okay, now if you look at this, if I don't consider these pop instruction which are present over here, at that time my address location will be loaded with what, it will be loaded with 5799. Okay, but the actual address what we are having over here, it is 000b, which are present over here. Okay, since because I did not use these pop, then the return, after return, the address locations will be loaded into the program counter that are totally different. That is why it is must and mandatory that the number of pushes what we'll be using in a subroutine program, those many number of pops should be present in that particular subroutine program itself. Okay, so this is how our this thing is going to work. Now let us look in terms of these things. Okay, so R4 has been called, so 99 has been loaded over here. Next R5 has been called over here. Okay, so 57 has been loaded. Now L call delay, so in this L call delay, move A will be used. So if you look at the content, it is 000b. So at the first location, the lower nibble has been stored, and the second location, the higher nibble has been stored. So after this, it is going to come over here, push 4. So 4 in R4 we are having 99 hexa value, so 99 hexa value has been loaded, and then after that push 5. So here we are having 57 hexa. Okay, so now if you look at this, how what happens when the pop, so here if you look at this, there is a pop instruction, so the 57 address or 57 data what we were having, that has been removed. Okay, in the similar way in pop 4, if you look at this, the content has been removed. Now if you look at that, the after pop 4 we are having return in the sense the address locations will be loaded back to the program counter. So two address locations, both the address locations will be loaded back to the program counter. So this is what happens whenever there is a call. Okay, so this is and also works in the similar fashion itself. What actually we had seen in terms of a long call, absolute call also work in the similar fashion, but the only difference what you can observe in terms of absolute call, that that will be our the size of the address locations. Since it is only the 1 byte, since it is a 2 byte, out of that 2 byte, 1 byte is for opcode and the another 1 byte is for the address locations. That means the address locations will be within our RAM range. It's what you can observe in terms of what, in terms of long call and then absolute call. So by this we shall wind off this particular session, where actually we looked at how actually the subroutines programs have been called, and then how does stack will help us in terms of loading the contents of that particular address locations into the stack, and then how actually it is useful in terms whenever there is a call of a subroutine program. Okay, so in the next lecture we shall look into the IO port interfacing, and we shall discuss on port 0 and then port 1. Okay, thank you.